feel like I have two niches or no clear niche. I want to grow my business, but I feel I need to decide what my niche is and find it really hard. You're really not alone. This is everybody struggled with this. Okay. I started as a sex coach, erotic blueprint coach, and started offering group work for women who wanted to explore their erotic blueprints. But I never really defined a niche. I told my story, shared about the blueprints, and women who resonated signed up for my program. But over time, this got a bit boring to me. I was using the online course of my teacher as a structure and coached people through it. So I don't have a real niche in this field. On top of that, I offer group workshops for relational healing, birth into being workshops. Basically, I have two modalities I work with. One, product blueprints. Two, birth into being. I've been promoting my work through the modalities. I feel I need a niche and find it super hard to pick one. What do you recommend? Well, okay, there's a few things. One of the biggest places that people get stuck in their niching is they think that niche equals who, right? Niche equals target market. Niche equals the kind of person I work with. That's one facet of niching. But let's say there's six, right? There's who. And for service providers, that really is often the big one. There's who, but there's also what you do. So that's what you've been doing so far. That's a legitimate way of niching. There's how you do it. So I think we heard a bit about this with the architectural design. There's something about not just what, but the style of it, the aesthetic, the taste, the approach, the point of view, the philosophy, all that. That's the how. There's the where. Sometimes, like, yeah, lots of people do this, but I do it here in this town. I do it in München. There's the when. Sometimes just you work different hours that are work for your people. There's the why. Simon Sinek talks about this beautifully. You know, the bigger cause, the bigger purpose of our work, the underlying mission of it. Right? Who, what, where, when, why, how. Yeah. So those are all the things. So
Mhm.
what I'm hearing is actually what you've done has worked. Doing the what has worked. My inclination would be potentially to keep doing the what, but just find a way to make it more interesting to you, make it more exciting for you, to bring it alive in some way. Now, you could say, I want to do the erotic blueprint, this stuff for these types of people, for these types of, you could hone within that. But man, if it's working, great. Here's the thing I would say though, there's always downsides to the who, because you could focus on a very particular group and then suddenly there's a lot of people in there doing it, but also with the what, because my guess is when you started with the erotic blueprint, there weren't as many erotic blueprint coaches, and now there's more.
Actually, I'm still the only one in Germany,
Oh my
and
God.
nobody knows about it because I'm not that vocal about it.
Okay. I mean, I'll just say one option for you is work that. It's erotic
Mhm.
blueprint in Germany, potentially doing it in German or English or whatever, but just be like, really carve that out
Yeah.
for yourself. Like, I'm the erotic blueprint person for Germany. And then
Mhm.
just to ask yourself, okay, how do I make this more exciting for me? How could I find a way to bring myself alive in this work? Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that. So basically, I'm still within the niche if I like, let's say, talk more, like invite people more into couples work,
Yeah.
still do the
It's
women's work, but not
totally.
just that because I'm gonna get bored. Or yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Again, it's the niche is often the front facade of the house. So it could be
Hmm.
that you get known for the erotic blueprint work. But then
Hmm.
once people are into that, you say, well, but there's more. Or in a starter kit or an intro workshop, you say, look, to make your relationships work, the easy thing to focus on right away, the low-hanging fruit is this erotic blueprint. This is such an amazing quick tool. Boom. There you go.
Hmm.
There's your erotic blueprint. But like it's similar in a pyramid or a Venn diagram, there's other elements that are really important. So in intro workshop, you can make the case for why the erotic blueprint matters, but also here's the other three or four things that matter that are
Hmm.
really important. So this gets into the point of view work a bit. Here's the here's all the elements. And so then it's like, so that can become the starter kit. That's an example of that. If you go to my website under my products, there's a how to create a starter kit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so that's what could go in the starter kit is, you know, these kind of like here are the four approaches or tools that I think people need to have a thriving relationship as an example. And people check it out. And so you don't help them figure out their erotic blueprint. You just say, here's what it is, here's why it matters.
Mm, yeah, yeah.
And but if that's the thing that gets the response, if that's the thing that kind of gets people in the door, then you can tour it. I mean, you could just literally, I would recommend just hit the road in Germany, get people to host you if you're open to it, to go and do live workshops or online on Zoom, or it's
Mm,
meta ads that are focused in Germany.
mm. This
Um,
is so interesting.
yeah.
What a great idea. Hmm.
And then there's the question. So here's the homework too, I would say is to ask yourself, okay, people in Germany who would be into this erotic blueprint thing, what else would they be into? Like what other things would I just not be surprised to find? Oh, you have that book? You've been to this course? You have this
Hmm.
hobby? You frequent these places? You go to this festival? Like what are the things that you sort of just you just wouldn't be surprised for that you would find your ideal clients were also drawn to?
Hmm.
Because those are your hubs then. For
Hmm.
example, it could be, though it sounds like you're going to be leading women's circles too, but like women who run women's festivals, women's circles could be
Yeah,
that. Now,
yeah.
could also be men's groups, men's gatherings and festivals. But these are the types of things that was like, oh, it could be tantra or like tantra speed dating events, or it could be. Um, but this is genuinely one of the most helpful questions that I've come up with over the years. Everybody is just the people who would be into what I'm offering, even if you haven't articulated it crystal clear, but you kind of have an inner sense, like this thing I want
Hmm.
to do, what else would they be into? Where, like, and you'll get a list. And suddenly these are all the categories of hubs that you can then
Yeah.
start to talk to.
Hmm. Hmm. Right. And so if I get them into the door through the erotic blueprints, then I can still afterwards offer them my other relational healing workshops, for example, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's fairly identical to you invite somebody, you're sitting on the front porch, right, of your house. Somebody walks by, it's like, my God, I love your house. It's so beautiful. Oh, thank you so much. And you strike up a conversation. And you say, you want to come in for tea? And I say, actually, that'd be great. Or they sit on the front porch, you have tea. And then so
Hmm.
that's one part of your house. But then you get on with them and you say, do you want to see the rest of the house? It's amazing. And you give them a tour of the house. Oh my God,
Hmm.
it's even more beautiful inside than the outside. I know, yeah, we put all this work into this. So that's what you can do in your business. Once you're already in a conversation with them, it's so organic and natural to say, "Oh, I got some other stuff too. Here's what I think might be useful for you."
Hmm.
Like, man, if you like this room, let me show you the attic.
Hmm.
This is and then they see, oh my God, this is my favorite room. I knew it would be similar with the
Hmm.
offers where it's like, you know what? I think I have this one thing. It's not the erotic blueprint, but I think this would be so good for you. And you show it to them and they say, oh yeah. So,
Hmm.
because everything you're doing is kind of in that domain of relationship, sexuality. So it's not like the trouble is when somebody's a butcher, a baker, and a candlestick maker, it's three completely separate things.
Hmm.
That's a hard transition, but it's not a hard transition between
Right.
erotic blueprint and then, this other relational work you're doing. I don't think.
Mm. Yeah. Thank you. It's been really eye-opening to hear that I don't have to find like the to niche through the who and like the this is the customer that I serve that actually have other ways. It just feels so oof, freeing, like giving me so much space to breathe.
There's two more thoughts I'd share. One is just for everybody. If you're thinking of niching with the what, meaning you've got a particular boat, particular modality, particular offering, it's fine. But there's two preconditions for that working, as far as I can tell. One, There's a high demand for that boat. Like people want that boat when they hear that you have it. That's what we want. Number two, there's a low supply. There's not a lot of people offering that thing. So, like right now, like if there's a real interest in the erotic blueprint, people are hearing about it, but they can't find somebody in Germany to work, something like this. Well, great, high demand. But if it's you can see how the worst situation is. There's like no demand for this. You name it, and people are like, cool, what's that? I've never heard about it. That's like zero demand. And there's a high supply. There's like 10,000 other people offering it. It's just that's unworkable. So that's number one. But number two, and this is, I would so recommend this to the service providers in the room, but kind of everybody in your business. Sometimes we get stuck on the ideal client, right? We just can't. There's a point the well's dry, man. I mean, you've done all the niching exercise. There's just nothing else that's coming up. So at that point, I recommend set that aside. Come back to it later. Shift the focus from the who to the what. And ask yourself this question. What is it that you most want to offer the marketplace? What's the thing you most want to put out? Meaning, if somebody came to you and they said, look, came across your work, you're absolutely the one we want to work with. No doubt in our mind, you're the one. And we're rich. The money's not a problem. And we want to do a deep dive with you. We really want to do the full meal deal with you. What would you offer? Like, what's the thing you actually want to do? Because sometimes we get stuck in these marketing business exercises and we just lose track of what are we actually interested in putting out. Because you can see how this becomes a bit of an infinity loop. If you really clarify the what, your ideal clients, by definition, are the people who would want to sign up for that. They're the people who look at the thing you want to actually offer and say, oh my God, that's for me. Um, so the what can hone the who. But also, as you figure out the who, you can start to ask yourself, okay, what would these people like? What do they want? And that helps refine the offer because that can be a problem too, is people design these things that they're really excited about and they lose touch with who it's for. They just, and so it can become a little solipsistic kind of internally referenced. So marketing is this conversation often between the who and the what, going back and forth. But if you get stuck on the who, just try the what for a while. What do I actually want to offer? So like if I was going to focus in Germany on this relationship stuff, like what's your premium offer is another way to think about it. If I were going to come up with like a year-long deep dive program, what would be the thing that I'd be so amped to offer? Start with that offer. Because then you think, okay, who would be a fit for that? Who are the perfect clients for this? Because then that particular group of people or groups, those are who you're trying to reach from the very beginning. That's in your starter kit, in your social media, in an intro workshop. You're trying to reach those people, the ones who would be a great fit for your premium offer.
Mm.
Yeah.
One last question about that.
Yeah.
Because you said that it makes sense to niche with the what if there's a high demand and a low supply. Actually, nobody knows about the erotic blueprints. They only know about them because I talk about them and I invite people to my workshops. Would you call that a high demand, or is it the demand? I mean, it's the demand that I've created. Otherwise, nobody would ever ask about these blueprints. They don't even know they exist.
Yeah. I would say, I mean,
Except, yeah,
it's not the ideal situation. The ideal situation is people are saying, where do I find somebody who can do my erotic blueprint?
right.
But that's not a bad next level is nobody knows about it, but as soon as they hear about it and they hear me talk about it, they want it. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are certainly things that people get up and they talk about it and people just like, I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense. I don't want it. I don't care. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
you're welcome.